Patrick, after your game of the weekend, you put your hand up to be the freewheeling gun midfielder in the AFL team there?
Oh, it'd be nice. Yeah, I haven't played midfield for West Coast for a fairly long time. But I had a good time at Claremont on the weekend, got to run around, get my hands on it, so it's a role I enjoy, so I would be putting my hand up this week to do that.
Did you have a role on a player? Because obviously we know you as someone who's reasonably accountable, or did you pretty much just get to play your own game?
Yeah, I got to play my own game. East Perth had a few good midfielders, including our own, Matt Rosa and Adam Selwood, so I was pretty accountable, but yeah, I didn't really have a role to be too defensive on anyone.
Did you run into their paths, or did you have to go one-on-one with either of those boys?
Yeah, Sellers I gave him a head-high free kick, so I was pretty flat about that. He let me know about it straight away.
Paddy, were you a bit surprised he didn't play last week, given who was out and then Critter went out as well?
Not really. History tells me I always find it pretty hard to get back inside. I've always got to do as much as I can to get back in, so I always thought I'd probably at least have one or two, and I'd have to play pretty well to get back in as well, so see what happens this week.
Despite the injuries and that?
Yeah, despite the injuries, it's always sort of the way with me.
What do you reckon this week then? So there's you, Carey, Rosa and maybe Shuey.
Yeah.
You'd be in front, do you reckon?
No. I think Carey had a pretty good game, didn't he? I don't know, 35 and 3 or something.
When we mentioned it to the coach, he said you had a good game.
Oh, that's nice to hear. I don't know, with all those players coming in, it's going to be hard again, I think, but you know, if the opportunity comes, I'd be thrilled to get, have a chance and have a crack against Essendon.
Do you think you might need extra midfielders? Essendon on Eddie had. Do you think an extra batch of midfielders with their depth of midfield is crucial to any chance?
Yeah, they've got some good midfielders, but I don't think me coming in as a midfielder would add too much if I came in as a backman or a forward. So they've got great midfielders, but I think we've got them pretty well covered this week with Hutchie playing well and Gaffey and all the boys running around and getting their hands on the ball.
How frustrating has this season been with the injuries and trying to fight your way back in?
Yeah, it's been pretty frustrating. Not just for me, but for a lot of the boys. But that's just the way it goes with footy. We've had one of those years, but we've got 4 more games to go, and we'll be looking to play as well as we can and get the ball rolling.
Have you learned a few things about yourself this year?
Not really. Maybe that I break a little bit easily at times. But no, it's been frustrating at times. But then again, there's lots of boys that have had years like this, and there's always next year.
Paddy, you've played forward, back and through the middle. Is there a role that you prefer out of the three?
Not really. I enjoy playing back. I find that's probably the spot that I've got when I come back in more often than not. But I do enjoy playing forward as well. I think it's a pretty big challenge for me playing forward. I'm not used to running around trying to get my own footy, but when I've done it, I've actually enjoyed it quite a lot.
Could you go with Watson or Stanton, do you think?
I'd tell Woosh I could give me a chance, but they're great players, and I'd really enjoy the challenge of playing on blokes like that. I know Watson's obviously the player he is. He's Brownlow medalist, and he'd be a great challenge for me, I think. Inside player would be quite hard, but going with him at stoppages I think would be a great role.
Do you need to become more of or move away from that tagging role to become a permanent member of this team, or do you think your role as a tagger will run with player, whether it's defensive half or midfield?
Yeah, I think it's still, my role would still be defensive, but I think for me personally to move forward it would be locking down those types of players like you say, but also running off them and getting my own ball and using it well, probably more than anything, making my possessions, impacting the scoreboard, or whether it's just, through skills. Moving forward, that would probably be the main thing.
So a bit more like Scott Selwood has done over the last couple of years.
Exactly right. Scott's just moved his game so quickly to another level. He's as good as anyone defensively. We're constantly showing clips of his defensive work, yet he's the one that, is always good for a goal and uses the ball really well going forward. So he's, a good example of something like that.
In terms of the lockdown part of the game, obviously Ryan Crowley's really announced himself over the past few years. Have you kept a close eye on him? Any tips?
Yeah, kind of. He's obviously always on the main sort of on-baller whereas I sort of find I've been more on the the dangerous, more dangerous forwards. So he's a good one to look at. Obviously, he's doing it as good as anyone at the moment, and he's a big part of why they're doing so well. So he'd be a good one to look at.
Were you surprised when you got suspended for that tackle?
I was probably initially surprised, only because I didn't give a free kick away at the time. But looking over it and talking to various people, it was probably fair enough that it got cited. So yes and no.
Did you change anything as a result? Obviously.
Yeah, probably not. I think the biggest thing was that the player was injured. He hit his head on the ground. So I think if the tackle happened again and he had the ball and he didn't get hurt, I think it might have been a little bit different. But yeah, I won't change too much.
Did you scratch your head a bit? I mean, yours was in play. It seemed like a fair tackle, apart from the injury afterwards. And then Sean McKernan just comes out and elbow shepherded, and he only gets 4 weeks for it. Were you?
Yeah, I did scratch my head a little bit, and I know a lot of people probably did, but I had carryover points, which probably made my penalty a little bit worse. So, I don't look too much into that. I sort of just let it happen and just move on.
You weren't aware the ball had spilled out though, were you, halfway through the tackle? You looked like you just completed the tackle.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't know he didn't have the ball. I know when I initially tackled him, he had it, and then before the tackle had ended, he had dropped it at some point. So that was probably going to be my argument if I decided to challenge it. But just talking to the club's QC and that, it didn't seem like I was going to get off or have a good chance of getting off. So I just copped it.
Have you ever pondered getting opportunity elsewhere, Paddy, or
As in,
like going to another club, maybe looking at somewhere where you might be sort of automatic in the best 22, or do you think you could work your way into that position here?
No, it hasn't really crossed my mind. I don't really think I'm a player that too many clubs would jump at, but I haven't really put too much thought into it. I love being at West Coast, and I'm a Perth boy and always supported West Coast. I'm amongst great friends, and I'm still with my family. I love being here, and I wouldn't really be too keen to go anywhere else.
What's your status for next year?
I'm contracted to the end of next year, yeah.